Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Women That Dream series. I have a very special guest. Every guest is so special. I know I say it, but it does not mean, it means that I'm so blessed to have these amazing women in my life. So today I have Heidi Randall. She's a chiropractor. She is a mom, and her story is full of inspiration. And we were actually chatting right before this, and we were talking about dreams and what we have discovered in conversation that dreams are not these concrete, really clear tasks that you check off. And Heidi will share more through her story because it's so evident in her story. It's just what we're given in the moment and taking action in that moment. So we're redefining the dream a little bit, or even adding on, expanding what the dream means. So Heidi, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so just honored to have you here.
Thank you, Katie. I'm honored. I feel special that you invited me. And you really nudged me to kind of look back years ago when I started what you call my dream, when I started my business, and remind myself of what it looked like to me at that point in my head, in my vision, of how it got started. And I didn't have this, we were just chatting about this, I didn't have this big clear picture of, I'm going to open this chiropractic practice. It's going to be called Willow Wellness. This is exactly what it's going to look like. What I was reminded of is the vision came to me in little pieces, in a sequence that are now woven together and, have blossomed into this story of mine. But the dream kind of came as, hey, here's an opportunity here. Hey, here, this a simple example would be, I did an internship when I was still in chiropractic school in Charleston, South Carolina. I fell in love with Charleston. I thought it was the coolest city. I loved walking through this city and seeing all the different colored houses. And I just thought it was so quaint and beautiful. And I'm from Pennsylvania, so I moved back to Pennsylvania after I graduated. And I was practicing as a chiropractor for, I guess, about 2 years. And then I happened to go to Doylestown with a friend. And I remember driving through the town and looking at all the colored houses and thinking, gosh, it looks like Charleston here. And right then and there, I was like, this is where I want to open a practice someday. And looking at it now, Doylestown doesn't look anything like Charleston. Like they're completely different towns. But I remember thinking, oh, this feels familiar to me and it feels right. And it kind of drove me to initiate starting a practice there. So that's an example of what I mean of, like, little pieces came to me and it was like, oh, here, this is where you should be in this town. And then I can think of so many examples along the way of, like, hey, this book was presented to me in a yoga class and I read it and it just sparked such inspiration in me. And then there was an opportunity to take a yoga teacher training. And then somebody brought a box of oils and put them on my lap. And, then just everything just kind of came together and developed into this bigger picture dream. But the dreams that have kind of developed in my life, whether it's personal, whether it's business, I really don't think of them as things that are separate from me. They're just me. They're my life. And I think it's about being present in your life enough to see that there are dreams waiting to bloom all around you. And if you can just kind of be alive in your life and be an active participant, you're going to see them. We all have them. And it's a matter of recognizing them and being present with them and then taking action on them.
Yeah.
So all these little pieces of the dream that came to me over time, I'm sure I missed a lot of them too, but the ones that I noticed, I saw, and I'm big on do what you can in front of you today. And I feel like that's what I did over the past dozen years or so. And so much has come to me by just taking simple action each day.
That's so beautiful. It is. And you touched on such an important part of us being alive, not just life happening to us, but being an active participant in our life, recognizing these gifts, right, that are gifted to us, and then taking an action to open them and see what they evolve into. And That's so beautiful. And then I love your story. I never knew about the Charleston and Doylestown story. I thought you lived in Doylestown and that's just how it was. But what a beautiful kind of listening to the whispers of your soul, like, ooh, this resonates. And
Mhm.
now having a practice in Doylestown. One of the things that we also talked about is that dreams can they can feel intimidating, right? Like when somebody's like, I have this dream, and somebody says like, I don't really have a dream, like it's not, that this is what I want to do with my life, or this is how I want, dreams of family, like sometimes I meet women, they're like, I always knew I wanted to be a mom. And then sometimes I meet women, they're like, yeah, I didn't know motherhood was going to be part of my life. I was actually just talking to someone about this today, and she shared that. I was like, oh, that is so beautiful. So I love that it's so um, unique and particular to each one of us.
Mhm.
So I also love and I'm so inspired by that there's no perfect timeline for our stories and for our
Mhm.
dreams.
Mhm.
And I would love for you to share how you met your husband now, and how that if we were to talk about this a few years ago, right, that would sound like something, out of a fairy tale. But now it's, like it's the dream. So I love how you your love story and your family story. So I'd love for you to share that with us as well.
Sure, absolutely. I'm still in love with our love story. I think it's storybook because it's ours and it's just so of course unique to us. But you said there's no perfect timeline, but there's always the perfect timeline.
Yes.
There's no perfect. I get what you're saying as far as like it doesn't have to be to look a certain way. I mean, I
Yeah.
certainly in probably society standards did mine all backwards, and I know over the years patients family looked at me like, what's going on with her timeline? Is what's that all about? But it's always the perfect timeline, and I think it's really important, a sense of faith. It's really important that our lives will unfold exactly how they're supposed to. And I think it goes back to living alive, like being okay with where you're at in the present moment, and just looking for that next piece to drive you forward in your life. Anyway, so how I met my husband. Gosh, I haven't shared the story in a little while. It's probably been about a year. We're coming up on our year anniversary soon. Um, so so Kyle, my husband, he is my best friend's husband's brother. And Kyle, his brother lives in Doylestown as well. But Kyle's in the Air Force, and he has traveled all over the place for the past dozen or so years. I've known him as long as I've known my best friend. When I moved to Doylestown, oh, this goes back to finding my way to Doylestown as well. So I found my way to Doylestown, and I thought, gosh, I need to make a connection with I didn't know anyone in Doylestown, but I needed to make connections to start a practice and make friends. So I Googled health practitioners and I came across Allison Finger, and I sent her a message and I said, do you want to meet for tea? I would love to connect with you. And that's how our relationship developed. So you just never know who you're going to meet and then where it's going to take you.
Yeah, where it's going to take you. Yeah.
Um, so anyway, I've known Kyle as long as I've known Allison, and Kyle was always traveling with the Air Force, and his most recent assignment was in England for 3 years. And every time Kyle would come home from his leave or for wherever he was, I was always a part of the text chain that would say, "Hey, Kyle's back in town. Come up. We're having drinks tonight. Come up and hang out." So I was always a part of celebrating when he was back in town and hanging out and just enjoying his friendship. And then last January, I got the text, and I remember looking at it differently. It was, Kyle's back in town, come up for drinks. I swear his brother must like have a copy and paste and like say it the same way every time. But this time I looked at it differently and I was like, Kyle's back in town. That's fun. And I just remember having a different feeling about it. We ended up seeing each other, and there was just, I don't know if it was this idea in my head that it was going to be different, but there was just, like a different little spark going on. And very quickly, we started spending time together, just the two of us. And his new assignment was in Massachusetts. I was in Pennsylvania, and he was flying back and forth, and we were spending time together. But logistically, nothing lined up. We're living states away, totally different, seeming phase of life and whatnot. So I didn't have this plan in my head that I was going to try to marry this guy. I just thought we were going to spend time together and enjoy each other's company. And that changed really, really quickly. Had that beautiful session with you, where you opened up my Akashic records and gave me some awesome advice about initiating a conversation with Kyle about where our relationship was headed. And very quickly, and this goes back to seeing an opportunity and taking an action on it. And I feel like I have kind of lived that way for a while. And it's also Kyle's personality. So it's really neat when we opened up this conversation together, and very quickly before our eyes saw, like, wow, we have such a beautiful opportunity here together. And so much is in alignment, where we, if you looked at it from paper, maybe there are things out of alignment, but so much was in alignment. And very quickly we decided this is where we're headed. And when I say quickly, I joke, but like within that conversation, we were sitting in a really heavy rainstorm in our car in the Target parking lot. We decided, yeah, we want to start a family, and we want to start it now, and we want to get married now. And why waste any time on something that we just know is going to be out of this world amazing? And we're coming up on our year anniversary in a few weeks, and it's been the very best year of my life by far. It's been absolutely phenomenal. So we just had our son 6 months ago, and I couldn't have planned out that story if I tried. So, but I'm thankful for the place I was at in my life, where I had cleared my schedule enough to give myself time to be present. And certainly when I started my business years ago, I was busier, and I was, in that more hustle mode, getting things going and launching different aspects of the business. And then as years went on, I really held this other vision for what I wanted my family life to look like, and then worked towards clearing space so that I could allow that vision to come through. And I was very intentional about that, of paring down my time at the office, opening up time, opening up space, giving myself more opportunity to meditate and to dream and manifest and pray, and all of those things that are so, so important. So I cleared the space, and then the next dream kind of popped in there just so beautifully. So there's no perfect timeline, but it's all perfect timeline.
Yeah, it's like it's divine timing, right? No perfect timeline, but there's divine timing, and it is really beautiful. And when we align ourselves with that, we feel the flow, which I love seeing through you. And one of the things that you said, it's like it didn't look. I don't remember what word you said. Like on paper, it didn't look, but it felt right. Like it was just And how many times in many different situations, so easy to be like, well, it doesn't add up, really. Like like logically or on paper or in society, right? And then we discard what we feel. And then that creates heartache. That creates like us like separating ourselves from our true selves, and creates hardships, and it can launch a lot of emotions in us that don't get processed.
And I
Yeah,
think
go
one
ahead.
of the pieces that was really helpful for us as we started our relationship, and even now, we were intentional about not over planning things and making things more complex than they had to be. As far as, we were living in separate states when we first got started, and we kind of decided to not worry about how we were going to come together and how it was going to work out. So initially, Kyle was doing a lot of commuting back and forth to Pennsylvania. It worked great. And then when we got to the point where, I was nearing the end of the pregnancy, somehow he carved out time with work that he was able to be in Pennsylvania more. And then we decided, all right, we're going to give birth in Doylestown and spend our paternity leave together in Doylestown, and then we'll see what feels right for the next step. And then we decided, okay, we're going to move our family up to Massachusetts. And we really made most of our decisions in like the real life timing. And that was really helpful for us. And there was always an opportunity there for us when we needed it. But if we tried to a year ago plan where are we going to be a year from now, I think that would have been too much. I think we would have said it's not going to work out, or it's going to be too hard, or made it more complicated. So it worked for us, and I would encourage other people to try not over planning.
Yeah.
Go with what idea is in front of you in the moment. And if you have a business idea, do what you can today. Maybe you need to email a colleague. Maybe you need to go online and research how to get the business LLC started, or maybe you need to hop on the Zoom call today. But do what you can with what's in front of you, and you'll find that it pieces together, and eventually your dream will flow, your business will flow from that. But to say, I'm here, how do I get all the way over there? That's overwhelming. And I think there's too many steps to write all on paper on day one. So I guess it goes back to just kind of being an active, alive participant in your life, and being present with what is right there for you.
So I usually bring up a question, how you continue to stay on course for your dream, but I feel like we need to rephrase it and say, how do you create practices or create a mindset that is helpful to continue to stay your course, to be aligned, to see what's in front of you, to be open to seeing what's in front of you?
So, our story really started with, it started with chiropractic, but it started with essential oils together. So 8 years ago, when I started using Young Living essential oils, that presented the ultimate opportunity for me to go to that next level of presence within my body, within my spirit, within my life. And I've developed so many practices through using essential oils that have helped me to stay on course. So I use oils all throughout my day, but I really try to use them as a way to slow down, take some deep breaths, and really think about how my body feels, how my energy feels, what's physically in front of me, and then roll with it. And then I take these breaks throughout the day to repeat that practice. Actually, we were, I guess, chatting, it was over Facebook. I try to use the idea of walking into a new threshold or walking through a threshold. So I'm in my office right now. I smelled some oils before we got on this call, but when I walk out of my office door and I go up to where my son is up there, I can hear him right now, I'll smell oils before I head up there as a way to intentionally shift my focus. So I'll just pause for a moment and I'll probably smell, say I'm looking at luscious lemon right there. I'll probably take a few deep breaths so I can almost let go of work and this mindset here and say, I'm about to be present with my family. And it helps me to just kind of sink into my body, sink into my life, sink into my present time awareness. And from that place of clarity, we can be so productive and so effective. So that oil practice has probably been one of the most powerful tools for me.
Yeah. I echo that practice with oils, to be really present and intentional, and really also discovering all of these parts of us. That is such a neat practice to find, just and it's finding both things, the inner strength and the inner doubt, but
Mhm.
being aware of that and
Mhm.
what you can do with that is huge. And I love
Mhm.
that practice, that intentional, the thresholds. It's
Mhm.
so beautiful because it's, we think we can multitask, but we really,
Yeah.
it's not a real thing, because yes, we're present but not fully. So this creates this full presence, and that's where we have the most just the 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 power of that, of being present.
Mhm.
Like I even can't find a word for that, because
Mhm.
it's so really powerful
Mhm.
to be that way. Oh, thank you for sharing that, Heidi. I love that practice, and it is just it, and it keeps growing too. Like, you know, I love that oils can help us with our physical body, but with our emotional and mental, that's
Mhm.
also, that's is a huge benefit.
Mhm.
um
And you just touched on multitasking. I think that's another piece that is really important to point out. Multitasking isn't that, like you said, we can't do it. It's not that effective. Um, I have found my own success, whatever success, my own productivity, I should say, best comes when I've given myself the opportunity to focus on one thing, meaning like clear my space. And today I'm with patients. Tomorrow I sit and I enjoy my coffee, and I listen to the waterfall, and I dream, and I journal, and I put the ideas down. This day I'm with my family. This day I carve out time where the babysitter is going to be with the baby so I can focus here. I think it's really important that we give ourselves these opportunities to be present in different areas of our lives, and also put the support in place that allows us to do more than one thing, because we're multi-layered and we have multiple things we're passionate about. I love being a mom, I love being a chiropractor, I love, different pieces of who I am and who I can be, but I think we can enjoy them and shine best when we give ourselves that space to do one thing well at a time.
Yeah. And Heidi, as we're talking, I love the light that you're shining on how um, easy dreaming and living your dream can be. That
Mhm.
it's not, I have to do all of this at once and I have to juggle all of this. Like what you just described, being present in these different areas in your life feels so peaceful and feels
Mhm.
so good. Like you want to do that, right?
Mhm.
Where a lot of times when you are trying to multitask, you're like, well, I'm not really enjoying my work, or like I have to be doing all of these things at home,
Mhm.
and you're
Mhm.
not enjoying any aspect of your life. So I feel like it's just like the vision, or the lens that you're looking through is so uh it just feels good. It just feels good,
Mhm.
and it makes you feel like, oh, I can do it all. I could be a mom, I could work, I could be, a friend, right? Like
Mhm.
a friend and part of the community. And
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like it actually feels whole versus
Mhm.
feeling like it's taking pieces apart from you. So
A really silly line, but why not? You know, we can always think of something like, oh, but I have a newborn. Why would I? How can I start a business now? Or, um, oh, I have to work, so how would I be able to, have time with my son? Or I can't think of a great example now, but
yeah,
say to yourself, but why not? Why can't you have both? Why can't you be both? Why can't you do both well? You're just going to have to get creative with how you do that thing well, but why not?
yeah.
I really feel like anything is possible if you have a vision that's been planted on your heart, or a desire. It's there for you, so why not?
Why not? I love it. And that's that can be applied everywhere. And you know
Mhm.
what, actually I wanted to, this is a beautiful part that I wanted to share. So now you have a family, you guys decide that you're going to be in a different state, right? And you say, why not open another Willow Wellness location?
And this is certainly something that I did not pre-plan. I mean, the idea probably a year ago of opening a second location, I would have been like, no, thank you. I'm good enough. I do not need that. And actually, maybe even a few months ago, I would have said that. And honestly, it was in simple conversations with my husband where, we'd walk down in this first floor space of our house and be like, oh, this would be a cool place to see patients. It has its own bathroom. There's a private entrance over there. And yeah, that's neat. And then it was like one day, it was like, maybe we should start seeing some patients. And then that quickly, like there was a rug ordered off of Amazon and a table sitting here. And then I remember laughing with my husband, like, how will I get patients? Like, I mean, I have a table, but like, will I have patients? And then I put a post on Facebook, and then I had 4 new patients on my schedule the first day I opened. And that is it again, don't pre-plan. You just roll with what's in front of you. And there's always these beautiful opportunities. And so now I'm sitting in this space and it feels so good. It feels so good to be back in these early stages of growing a business and making new connections and just setting the space and an experience for somebody. I'm loving dabbling again. But why not have a new woman and start a business? Why not?
So I want to like zoom out and like look at where, the Willow Wellness Doylestown started and now where Willow Wellness Massachusetts is. And also like take like a bigger picture, like the bigger purpose picture and what, having been in Heidi's care for years, and now, Willow Wellness it's not just a chiropractic practice, it's a whole body wellness practice. And now wonderful Dr. Sydney is there, and it's incredible to have her there. But how incredible is that you can bring it now? It's growing in Doylestown. It's beautiful. It's blessing people there, and now it's bringing this to another part of the country, which is just so beautiful. How you can continue to share, right? Because you could say, oh, I'm one person, right? Like I can't be in 2 places at once, but here you are, you kind of are, Willow Wellness is Dr. Heidi, and this will be too. It's just, our dreams or our visions. You said it's visions, but it's really like creating your life, right? Like your life, and whatever that must look for you. But as you're creating your own, it helps others be exposed to this beautiful creativity and love and just purpose.
I always say that my work is an extension of me and who I am. Like chiropractic, what we talk about on the table of just healthy living, conversations like this is what we have with patients all the time. It's just me. It's not me putting on this, yes, I'm putting on a different hat for a moment, but really my business, Willow Wellness Chiropractic, it is an extension of just who I am and what I live out in my daily life on my own. But as I was thinking about our conversation and I was taking some notes, I realized that my goals and visions for myself in my own life are no different than the visions I have for you guys as patients. I want the same things for you guys, and I really believe that through chiropractic care, essential oils, they bring us back into this place of alignment so that we can be present and that we can live our very best lives, and we don't miss out on these opportunities to live well, to dream well, and to, do great things. So the goals that I have for myself and for my family are really the same goals that I have for you guys, so that you'll shine in your own unique ways by being fully aligned and fully present. So the overlap is so special.
And I thank you for stepping completely and fully into your purpose and into your work, so that it is an extension, like you said, it is an extension of you. And it is, and I know people and women are going to watch this, and there will be beautiful seeds planted in their heart, in their mind, that maybe not even seeds, the seeds have been planted. They're being watered. They're being watered by support and love and encouragement, that the life that you dream of, or the life that you feel you want to live, is possible for you. it's
Absolutely.
it's possible. And part of it is, how do you become present,
Mhm.
and it is through making sure your body is aligned and feeling great, because we can't be present if we're physically hurting or
Of course.
emotionally hurting, or
Mhm.
so that's. And one of the questions I was going to ask is, the inspiration to share with others, and I think why not
Why
is
not?
is the biggest inspiration to have. It's so simple. You can write it on your mirror or on a little post-it, and when a doubt creeps in, or you have an idea, and before the doubt creeps in, you could be like, oh,
Mhm.
why not?
Why
And
not?
just take that aligned,
Mhm.
inspired next action step
Mhm.
and move a little bit closer. Heidi,
Mhm.
thank you so much for sharing this beautiful knowledge and your story and the inspiration and the steps. I loved all the practical steps and
Mhm.
all the practical ideas you've given, but also opened your heart and shared, how beautifully it had bloomed and opened up in your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Always a pleasure.